My perspective and what I want to share with you today is more the perspective of the payer side. Because the concept of the new adaptive licensing is in a way posing a lot of challenges for everyone, and especially also for payers, because deciding with a lot of uncertainty, with a new kind of uncertainty, is something very challenging for every one of us. So, parallel to the new concept of adaptive licensing, I think that in Europe we have developed a kind of approach that could be considered of a kind of adaptive reimbursement approach. That means that we try to manage the level of uncertainty that is peculiar to the new product that came to the market. The Italian experience with that is something I can say particularly positive, and we have a very good experience on that. But it is not the only one. It is something that belongs to a lot of countries, and it is a kind of approach that is developing in a lot of countries. There are two elements that are quite fundamental in this kind of approach. One is the flexibility, as well as the flexibility that came from the regulatory side. The other one is for sure the process of data collection, the process of evidence generation that then can enable us to take a more comprehensive decision or a more analytical decision, and then to reassess the value of the product. With this kind of approach, there are different tools that can be used to try to help in the process of re-evaluation, in the ongoing process of re-evaluation of the value of the new product. One of the most important and one of the goal on which we, as Italian Medicine Agency, we have invested a lot is the registries. Registries that do collect information about the appropriateness of the utilization of drugs. This is what I want to underline, is that it's not just a matter of defining the value in terms of price, but defining also the level of access to the medicine. And this is something that goes really in parallel with what is ongoing on the regulatory side. So defining the access means that you are able to better define the subset of population that mostly can benefit for the new treatment. That means that you have always to take a decision. It means that a decision should be taken probably to identify this subset, that subset of population where you can invest more, and where your investment on health is more cost effective. But in the process of collecting new data and in the process of developing of new evidence on the ongoing development of the new drugs, then you can reevaluate that assessment, that level of certainty or uncertainty that you manage at the beginning, and that kind of evidence, so to be sure that the investment is always put on the appropriateness of use of the new drugs and the new therapeutic indication. This is something that I want to underline, because sometimes we are more keen to focus on the problem of price. But the price problem is just one of the elements. Instead, with the new process of adaptive licensing, I strongly believe that the focus will be shifted from the elements of defining the price to the element of, in a way, getting access to new drug, and so to be more flexible in the value identification of the new drug. Having in place tools like registries or different kind of managed entry agreements enable payers to manage the uncertainty and enable payers to be sure to be able to give the right value to every therapeutic indication. And this is also strategic for the adaptive licensing approach, because not all the indication could have the same value. Not all the indication will have the same level of evidence on which it is possible to take a decision. So to avoid the exclusion from the access to medicine for for patients, to avoid the exclusion or to avoid an expenditure that could not be so much controlled, managed entry agreements are a very positive, a very useful tool. To be practical and to go to some practical aspect, not just quoting our Italian experience, I think that managed entry agreements are a platform where a lot of opportunity for collaboration and for synergy are in place. It is not something very, very difficult. It is not something complicated. Sometimes when I show the slides describing the Italian approach for managed entry agreements and the different possibility, I know that a lot of industry representative or a lot of people look at that as a kind of nightmare, because you have a lot of different changes. You have a lot of different squares and different possibilities to change with. But it's just to be flexible. It's just to adapt the way of deciding to the situation and adapt the way of deciding, the process of decision making, to the real evidence that you get when you have to evaluate a new therapeutic indication or a new product. I want to conclude just this brief introduction, say that this is the place where I think that synergy is absolutely needed and synergy is fundamental, because until now a lot of duplication of work is in place in the field of data collection. There are data collected for post-marketing evaluation and surveillance coming from regulators. There is data collection done by scientists and by academia for development of new science and new analysis for in a way trying to better understand the pathway of the disease. There is the data collection done or asked by payers for manage the uncertainty and to try to, in a way, manage the access of new drugs. So this is a place where I really strongly think that synergy and cooperation is a key and fundamental, because the data almost of time are the same, or probably are the same, or could be integrated, are developed mostly at the same time frame, and even if are developed for different purpose, I think that sharing that also at a global level, not just at a national one, could be something in which it is worth to invest.